Welcome to the Last Beer Show, episode 30. Today we're joined by special guest Owen Skarpness. We cover pour by the ounce tap rooms, something called INSTASLOOTS, and a lot more. We're glad you're here. Let's get into it.
Hey, so welcome to the Last Beer Show.
Yeah, welcome.
Welcome, this is Jason.
And Wayne.
And Wayne. And
Owen.
Owen, get them beers a-rolling rawhide.
Crack them up.
So tell us a little bit about yourself there, O-Dog.
Ooh, I do things.
Yeah, so here's something that you didn't know, Wayne. Owen does voiceovers.
He's a VO artist?
He is a VO artist. You down with VOO? Yeah, you know him.
What's your last name?
Skarpness.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you do.
What?
I do a little technical writing, a little data analysis. I work for a bike company, actually, bike equipment manufacturer.
Okay.
Do good work.
I didn't spell it right, I don't think.
Okay.
Close enough.
I'll get you later.
It's close enough for government work. But we ain't in no government. That's the thing. So we are...
What are we drinking today?
We are coming to you from our Last Beer Show International headquarters, drinking we are drinking an Other Half and Cloudwater collab, which is called
Countless
Beautiful
Arrangements.
Countless Beautiful Arrangements, which is a Imperial IPA, 8.8% by volume. What do you think there, Winnie Pooh?
It's real nice.
Complex.
So-
It's good. There's something funky going on in there, like I don't know, a little bit of farmhouse or sour blended in.
Yeah,
or something.
I feel the farmhouse
It's
on
not.
this.
It's not just. I mean, sometimes you can get a little bit funky if it's like just way
But
over
it's
the
but
top,
it's bright too.
like super hoppy. But yeah.
I kind of find this interesting. So, not a lot of people over here on our continent are very familiar with Cloudwater. But Cloudwater is a brewery overseas, and they partner with Other Half to make this beer.
Where are they? UK, right?
They are.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
I bet though people listening to this show are likely familiar because
They know.
you got to be pretty geeked out
Yeah.
to get to this point.
Well, we sure hope so.
Readdress some of your life choices that got you here.
This Imperial IPA, they threw a ton of hops at it. It includes Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, Idaho 7, Citra Cryo, and Simcoe Cryo. So that's interesting. They use Citra and Citra Cryo and Simcoe Cryo, maybe to help with efficiency, probably, because you use less cryo than you do regular hops because it's concentrated.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What is the cryo? I'm not even familiar with the cryo.
So cryo is where they take the insides of the hop flowers themselves, which is really kind of like it's sort of the strongest, most concentrated part.
It's like the pollen in the middle.
No, I got
Yep.
you.
That's what is the bittering agent.
So it's like hop concentrate almost.
It's like hop concentrate, right? And the idea is that you use a lot less of the cryo powder than you would the actual whole cones because it's concentrated into the powder, and so brewers can actually get away with using a lot less of the solid matter that they need to brew these beers.
Now, let me ask you: does that come out in the opacity of it? Does it make it less hazy? Maybe.
No, I don't think so. I think there's less waste because there's less solid matter to absorb
Yep, that's right.
or consume some of the liquid material. And you also get a little less of that, the other flavors that come as part of the hop flower, like the leafy green and some of the other little hairs and stuff like that will contribute.
So you're getting a little
not
more
a meaningful way,
almost a little bit more of a kind of a pure hop product.
Yeah, that's the idea of it, right?
Yeah, the pure, the pollen in the middle, that bittering agent is just purified that.
Well, it's
concentrated.
I got to tell you,
This is good.
It's tasting great.
I'm surprised you would use that in a beer with that complex of a hop bill.
But I feel like
Because it seems like if efficiency is the goal and you're going to use cryo, you wouldn't have 9 different hops in it, including more typical
Well, the
classic
challenge is they're using so many freaking hops already.
Yeah.
And can you imagine the amount of stuff that would be A, left in the beer, and then B, that would have to be cleaned out at the end of it with that many hops? You're talking like 7.
I'm glad I didn't
hops.
read that before I tried it because I probably would have tasted it and been like, kind of tastes messy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's complex. Like
It
I
is
said, it's complex, but
It's definitely complex.
Right.
it's a good kind of complexity.
But yeah, again, not a lot of people know Cloudwater. It's great to see Cloudwater. They're from Manchester, and them as a brewery, they are doing some really, really good beers over there. So it's kind of cool to see that over here. Cloudwater's actually been to several of the festivals over here recently. I know that they were at the Other Half Green, the Green City Festival. They were at.
They show well across the country in a lot of specific because
I
they
think
don't
they were at
distribute.
Hoonipoos Day too.
They don't distribute here, but they do a lot of partnerships, so they get their name out and they get to affect style and have those collaborative creative projects.
Yep.
But they do send beer to a lot of like festivals like New York Beer Week or some sort of Shelton Brothers event or other big events. They'll send bottles to that. Kegs, bottles.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, we also got into Jucifer from Gnarly Barley.
Yeah, Gnarly
down
Barley.
in,
Where's Gnarly
Louisiana.
Barley out of?
We've talked about this before. It's really good.
We have to.
That's Hammond.
Louisiana.
Yeah, Hammond,
And
Louisiana, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the can art's pretty fun.
Might be Ponchatoula, but I think it's Hammond.
But this is not really one of those. This is one of those like hidden gems. You don't look at it; it doesn't really look like much, and then you drink it, you're like, "Man, this is
It's
actually
really
super
good, yeah.
solid."
It's a funky
IPA.
label.
my
It's like
father-
a little devil gator
I
going
know,
down the
exactly.
river.
My
It looks
father-in-law-
cartoony,
Ridiculous.
It's down the street from this brewery.
but it's tasty.
It's right down
It's
the
a
street.
dang
Yeah, it's
tasty
cool.
IPA.
Yeah, it's excellent. Yeah, Hammond.
And then after this, we're going to get into the Listermann Brewing Company. They're out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and this is their MSE, Miss E, DDH.
Miss
which
E,
is-
DDH,
Yeah, Miss E.
NEIPA.
Miss E.
brewed with Citra and a new hop that I've actually never had before called Jarrylo, Jarrylo.
I haven't seen that one
And
yet.
I've never seen that hop before. So we're interested in that. And then we're going to get into some Hudson Valley and some variant brewing as
There's,
well as...
there's,
In
there's a
other
lot of
words,
new hops on the
there
on
are
the
a
scene.
lot.
There are a
of
lot
them.
of new hops.
There's some universities they have agricultural programs that have really been focused on it, and that really helps. Like Cornell or UC Berkeley. But there also are some states that credit where credit's due. Some states that have done a lot of farming initiatives and incentivizing farms to have breweries on them. So like New York's like, oh, you want to open a brewery? Fine, it has to be on a farm, and you have to use a certain percentage of local ingredients.
Now, does that include there's got to be a ton of like hybridization stuff going on too? Because for one thing, I don't know, we don't have the beer here, but another local Atlanta brewery, Wild Leap,
Yep.
just came out with, well, I guess a month or two ago now, Alpha Abstraction 6.
Oh, man, that
and
looks
good. No, it's
you know
really good.
you know the story behind those hops?
No.
So apparently, when they started brewing that beer, the hop didn't have a name. It was just
Some of them have numbers.
Yeah, it was just a
because
number.
it's still experimental
and,
strains.
and then while it was in the fermenter, it got named. And so then they made the label and they called it Lotus hops. And it was
Really?
like, man, that was a wacky hop too. It was awesome.
I think that's happening a lot. Like a lot of these strains that just have numbers that are still experimental and they're not. They don't have enough generational history.
Mm-hmm.
I think they get concerned about consistency and their ability to reproduce it consistent, like over and over.
I can see that.
After a few seasons. So, but yeah, at this point, when it comes to the agricultural side of hop growing, I mean, I grow hops. I have Comet, I have Columbus, and I have Cascade growing in the yard. They're already, man, in like last month, they went from a foot tall to about 18 feet tall. They're on fire.
And they're climbers too.
And I'm not, climbing. So I build ropes up and go up to the roof, like the awning of the house,
Nice.
and just put like eye hooks in there. Anyway, you got me distracted. I'm monologuing like a bad guy.
no, it's good. It's
No,
good.
what-
Let's talk about
I'm
hops
way
all day.
outside of my comfort zone when it comes to, talking about
the hops.
how to build sort of some
reproducible.
Yeah, reproducible and understanding how to make that generational and when they draw the line.
I get you.
For when
I get you.
Way out of the comfort zone, but
Well, that's one of the fun things about beer, though. I mean, it's a real art. I mean, you're taking all these various factors and trying to produce a consistent result, and it's a challenge.
yeah, and I like how they trend sometimes. You've got different it was all IPAs, West Coast IPAs, and hops, and hop character was really the main flavoring agent after a century of it just mostly being malt. And then,
for sure.
right, and then lately, fermentation and fermentation process has really done a lot.
Yep.
Like now, farmhouse ales are exploding,
we're
while
seeing-
their ancient styles
I've never seen.
they're being explored.
Yeah, the sours have
souring,
exploded.
so mixed fermentation and even kettle souring, right?
Yep.
And another one would be, what was I going to say? Farmhouse sour and mixed culture, and I don't remember. Doesn't matter.
Well, what are our topics today? We're going to get back on track here.
Yeah, we're gonna
No, we go off.
Yeah,
of
this
there.
is. I will say that
He's more disciplined than we are.
I drove by. I actually drove by. I went camping this past weekend, and I actually drove by a new brewery up in the mountains of Georgia.
You caught some fish up there too.
And I did actually catch some fish up there. But
that looks smoking.
on my way back, I passed a brand new brewery up there. But one of the first things that I noticed were all of their hop vines, and they're going to be growing all their own hops for their brewery
That's
right there
cool.
on the brewery.
That's really cool.
Which is really cool for Georgia. I have seen it at places like Sierra Nevada and Asheville and other places, but nowhere in Georgia have I seen a brewery growing its own hops.
I don't know if it's all the hops they're going to use. They're probably going to buy some too.
I'm sure
that
they will.
requires
I'm
a
sure
lot
they
of
will.
hops to
I'm
make
sure they
even
will.
one
doubt.
tank of
No
beer.
doubt. Yeah.
Requires a lot.
But
of hops.
they had a ton of hop vines, and
That's
they're going to
cool.
be growing a lot of their hops
Well,
there.
keep
which
us
is pretty
posted.
Fascinating.
Next time you go camping out there in the wilderness,
I plan on
in the
stopping
pouring,
by there.
in the pouring rain.
So Listermann,
It's not yet open yet, is it?
it is open.
Oh, it just opened?
Just open.
Oh, I didn't think it was open yet.
It's open now. They
Nice.
weren't open the day that I was there because it was Easter Sunday, and so
Sad day.
it was.
That would be a
womp, womp,
challenge,
womp,
man.
womp. No
would
beer
be
for
a
me.
challenge.
You
You
go
got a big
now. No
holiday.
beer for you. All right. So Listermann that we're drinking started established in 2008 in Cincinnati. This beer, Miss E, is a DDH IPA. That you see on the top of his hat is actually some sort of still. That's what that is, and it looks really, really good, actually.
Oh, now that you mention it, it does look like a still. I thought it was like a well.
Like a well or something.
Yeah, but you could definitely
an
clearly
interesting
see
label.
the still.
It's very zesty, like lemony zesty. That's what I get out of this.
Big bubbles.
I do get a lot
Big
of carbonation, but I also get a lot of lemony zest.
That's the first thing I noticed was the bubbles.
Big bubbles.
Massively carbonated.
Belgian-sized bubbles.
Well, Mix-a-Lot's in trouble, begging for some of them bubbles. It's
Speaking
zesty.
of
it's very zesty.
speaking of Belgian bubbles,
You're going to start talking about bubble butt.
Oh,
talk
Bubble
about.
Bubble butt babes and beer.
Should we talk about beer?
Bubbles.
What would you call them? Like,
boobles.
I want to be cautious. Like boobles? I don't.
Boobles.
I'm gonna back and
All right, so
Wayne
I'm gonna
backs away.
I'm going to
slowly.
drive this. I'm going to drive this part of the train just so because I've been. I'm going to be ultra uber careful.
Jason,
So,
take the wheel.
I noticed today on the beer memes Facebook group, there was an image of what appears to be a photoshopped hoppy floppy photo in which the veins on her
The
breast.
Instagrammer, Hoppy Floppy.
She's
Yeah,
famous
right,
for
Instagram.
having lots of breasty photos.
Right, and
Yeah,
lots
veiny-
of
veiny breasty
photos.
And she has gotten feedback for the
The veins.
Right.
varicose
The veins.
breasts.
And here's the thing. I actually, I mean,
Not that I care.
I'm veins or no veins. I don't really care. So I am ambivalent towards veins, but I will tell you that there is a large audience that makes fun of her, and I don't see her stopping what she's doing, which means she's incredibly happy about her body, and
Although-
she feels really good about
Although
that.
she did try to shoot it a little
But
bit
she
there.
did actually. That image is Photoshop.
Bad
clearly.
Photoshop.
And,
Hashtag bad Photoshop.
You know, But it led me to this other thing that's sort of been like bothering me, and it's sort of been like tugging at me for a long time now. And it is a conversation and issue that bothers me on several ways. And understand, I'm a straight male. I like boobs. I like beer, and I am probably the target audience for the INSTASLOOT. The craft beer INSTASLOOT revolution.
That's you keep clicking. That's your problem.
You
keep clicking on it. He sees the beers, he sees the boobs, he can't help himself. I feel
like I'm the target audience, but at the same time, there's a part of me that's bothered by it, because I feel like, and as someone who's spent a lot of time doing social media for craft breweries and trying to put across the message to females who are also interested in craft beer, because I mean the reality is that for a long time craft beer was targeted to solely advertised to men, and that's ridiculous. Because we
beer,
know,
bro.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because we know that everyone enjoys and likes craft beer.
Sure, but that's how they get you to click, though. Too. I mean, sometimes you don't click because you like it; you click because you dislike it.
Yeah, but I
just start stirring the controversy.
Rage click marketing.
Click. Rage click.
I feel like though when I see some of these photos,
not boobs and beer, no,
of some of these gals, I sort of I wonder if it's setting things back a little bit, whereas we're in some momentum in society where we're moving the ball forward to a point of where we treat everyone with respect. The objectification of women is certainly viewed negatively, as it should be. But you have a whole spectrum of women who are happy to show off their boobs.
Yeah, I mean they're doing this willingly. They're out
willing
there. They're the ones posting the photos.
Here.
Nobody's twisting their arms saying.
And that's where I wonder about it,
pictures.
right? Because is it positive self-image? I'm all about positive body self-image. I'm all for it, but I just wonder, like, is it helping that cause of moving the needle forward in terms of treating women respectfully and properly in the craft beer industry?
You're circling around to saying that it's a equality setback.
I feel like it could be, but I'm not a female, so I don't know.
They can't both exist.
But it wouldn't that. I mean, I hate to say it. Isn't that kind of like? I don't even want to say it. Like that's something they're electing to do it, though. Like they're electing to set themselves back in a weird way. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Now that's assuming that they represent all women,
and that's true.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which is not true.
And
not
if you go on
possible.
Instagram, and you can find any number of hashtags that represent any tiny portion.
I mean, there's a bunch of
outliers, right?
I mean, there are guys on there doing other things that are probably just as questionable in other ways, right? Like
no doubt.
There are guys on there like waving guns around and stuff like that.
True.
There's all kinds of things on there that you're like, really? Are you acting?
And I actually really love the parody account for Hoppy Floppy's sort of the yin yang to her ying is Hoppy Sloppy, and
yes.
And it's a guy, and he's sort of making fun of that whole thing. And I just like I've actually been at shares with women who have joked that, you know what, I'm going to post this on Instagram. I would probably get a lot more likes if I showed more boobs, and it made me think. Right, I store that in the back of my head, and I can think of exactly who said that, and I just think to myself, yeah, that's not really the way that it should be, right?
But it's true.
And I know it's true.
Well, the other thing about these, like the trends and stuff, is that they piggyback off of each other. So if you like beer and you have a little bit of an interest in boobs, you're going to click on it. And if you like boobs and you have a little bit of interest in beer, you're going to click on it. So you're just, kind of dividing and conquering, or really combining and conquering here.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually an Instagram account called Crafty Cleavage. And it says on the account, it says "woman owned." Tag your photo with Crafty Cleavage for a repost.
But then it's all just. I mean, there's some questionable stuff.
There is some
questionable.
Some of it definitely errs on the side of pornographic, and there's another extreme that would be they're doing it to draw attention to really good work. Like some of them are really good writers that are publishing an article or doing reviews on products and things. That is actually pretty good work. They're probably making a living. So, yeah, there's that middle ground, but I don't know. I'm comfortable saying that they're all the same.
No, I don't think they're all the same.
I certainly couldn't tell you that, some of the stuff on there, like Like, nope, that's not art. Like, what's art? That's not it.
Yeah.
But I know I can't go on there and just cover my junk with a can and be like, I'm sexy.
Right.
It's just not going to land
have you
at
seen
all.
the little? There's
It
like
doesn't help that I'm not sexy.
Have you seen? There's like I swear to God, this is on Instagram too. There's like a little Asian man who does stuff naked.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
does
yeah,
have a
yeah.
tongue
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was on America's Got Talent, actually.
Yeah, he's
But
mini celebrity.
But the thing with this is that,
There are a few of
again,
them.
if these gals are doing this because they feel so awesome about their body and they feel like, you know what, they want to show it off, then I would never be one to say, well, screw you, that's wrong. Because honestly, I'm happy that they feel that way about their body. I wish that I felt that way about my body, right?
Can we? I don't know if we can solve it being 3 straight white males, but
No. But we
can
should.
we? I don't want to assume too much about you, Owen. But I will say that.
Well,
can we get someone on
Yeah, we should. I would love to get someone on that
and have a conversation with women?
that we
about it?
have about this, because I feel like another angle would be super helpful. I will tell you that when Cantillon was first being distributed into America some years ago, and now they're distributed into America by Shelton Brothers. There was some questionable kind of issues around both the Rosé de Gambrinus, which is their raspberry goose, and
specifically the label on that one.
Specifically the label and the fact that the lady is naked. I viewed it as like European art.
I don't
It
know.
is artful.
She's not just naked on there though. I mean, we'll say it like this. She's riding.
She's sitting on his
right.
lap.
Yeah, she's. I mean, she's enjoying the ride, but
It's a cartoon though.
But it
at the
is,
same time.
and it is artful.
It is,
It's not
yeah.
pornographic.
No, it's
It is definitely not pornographic.
Exactly. So, but there was some concern about that. They were actually asked to change the label to bring it into this country, and if I asked my wife what she thought about that label, my wife would have a completely different perspective than I would. I would say it looks like art, and my wife would say that's disgusting.
My wife would say it looks like art. And there are different
Well, I mean,
labels
granted,
with
your
nudity
wife is,
on them.
Your wife is an artist too.
But look, there are other labels that she or other women wouldn't say that about that are obvious, like some sort of like you can't have a naked or half naked pinup girl on there. Everybody knows what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to use
You can't use like a
sexuality
Playboy
or
cover or
nudity
something.
in order to draw attention to your product or associate what they think about that art with that beer. Like try to
certainly
build a
not-
quick association.
Yeah, sure, but it's certainly not the most controversial of images of all time. But it did stir some controversy.
I will
I mean,
say
there are
that
also racial ones that are.
is that more controversial than a beer like Happy Ending, for instance, which
Yeah.
famously was sent to influencers and writers with handkerchiefs and lotion.
That's just creative marketing.
So
That's what that is.
I don't know that they're.
don't know.
But you're kind of sending
Yeah.
it to a bunch of people you don't know.
right, exactly.
That's also
Who
true.
could be women.
yeah,
And
you-
like again,
Well,
what
what
does
was the
that
label
really
like on it?
say?
What
I
was the
just
label
wonder
like
what does all of this say to women who are interested in craft beer and see it as a good old boys club and want to put aside that notion.
it says
How
this
does
is
that-
not for you.
right. And I in that sense I don't think that's the direction that we need to head. Because I was hanging out today. I was hanging out with the guys from the hip hop group Nappy Roots.
Ooh,
and we were
name dropping.
No, but work with me. But we were talking about the conversation about how do we make it so that everyone feels welcome at the table of craft beer. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree wholeheartedly. And that's not just people of different races and people of different sexes, but all the way around. Like, how do we make everyone feel welcome at the table of craft beer?
Yeah.
I-
I don't know how to answer that at a high level, but to circle back to our subject matter of the INSTASLOOTS, as you call them,
INSTASLOOTS.
I will say that I don't know if I think this or if I fear this. I don't even know if there's a difference. But I will say that Cleavage INSTASLOOTS, whatever the hell they're called, are actually participating in bro culture.
I can see that.
I can see that.
That's what I think.
I can see that, which is part of that whole thing that Good Beer Hunting found themselves kind of caught up in 6 months ago, a year ago, right? It is. I can see that, and that because think about it. Like part of what people were complaining about around that whole Good Beer Hunting article that came out were these separate Instagram accounts that were.
You're talking about the Instagram accounts
that were run by people at the brewery,
yeah.
where the guy literally at the brewery had a picture of a can between his legs and said something like "Come get it" or something. But
he was representing a brewery.
A brewery, that's
even
right.
if accidentally or moronically.
Yep.
He was still representing the brewery because he was in the brewery. The signage was their bottles, their cans.
That's true.
It was
whether he wanted to be or not.
But it was an account that was like a sub account with the brewery's name. It was like so it was brewery name.
I forget what they call these accounts.
It was like or back office or something like that, right? So they were like sub accounts. So they were actually using the brewery's name or part of the brand as an identifier, just so fans of the brewery would find it, right? So then you represent the company whether or not you like it.
Yeah, exactly. You hope they do or you hope they don't, depending on what's posted.
So,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I have the answers to all this, but
can we take a break and talk about what is shocking my palate right now?
Shocking your palate?
Oh my God!
So thanks to Eric for this can of J. Wakefield orange creamsicle, and
these things are so hot right now.
It's the orange Dreamsicle.
I must have 4 different creamsicle
sour ale with oranges and vanilla added.
Yeah.
This is J. Wakefield out of Florida.
Man, it is everything it says it is and more. It is exactly what's on the label. It is sour as hell.
It's
like super
it's like those
orangey.
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, it is a Sour Patch Kid. It's super orangey, and the vanilla hits hard at the end. I mean, it's in there.
Basically,
it's in your face.
Oh, it's so good.
It's basically it's man candy, huh?
Oh, I like it a lot.
Man candy. What was our previous subject?
You're going the wrong way.
Exactly.
No, this is good though. I like it. It definitely reminds me of like some sour candy.
Wayne will be posting pictures of the can later.
Yeah,
I will. I don't know about that.
If there's anything left of it.
I got to put it on the list though. We put in the show notes. We list the beers that we consume during the show.
Oh, this is good.
I list the beers that I consume while editing this show.
Yeah, I like this a lot. Actually,
that actually varies quite a bit. Who knows?
This is crazy, though. I mean, it's just so intense.
Oh God,
it's so intense.
This is delicious. So, J Wakefest was
Wakefield, J Dubs.
J Wakefest was a few months ago. Eric went down there for that, grabbed a bunch of bottles, and grabbed these cans.
Good man.
Good man. Thank you, Eric.
That's very generous.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
Yep. So, what else you want to rap about?
Well, we talked about
the Sloots.
We talked about a new kind of tap room or bar environment a little bit.
Because starting up.
Because it's a franchise, but there's one that just opened near us
here in Atlanta.
In
downtown.
It's not a franchise.
It's on the record.
How do they have a dozen locations? Not a franchise.
I'm telling you that their website says Pour Taproom is not in all capitals a franchise.
So it's a chain,
but rather a group of friends and family with small local businesses in different cities throughout the southeastern California.
All right, so it's a chain.
Sounds a lot like a franchise.
Well, they're not selling the rights; they own it. They're not selling the rights.
Okay.
So
apparently they started Pour Taproom, and this is a specific.
You have to explain
business.
what a Pour Taproom is.
Pour Taproom was started in Asheville, North Carolina. For those who don't know, in 2014, their original idea for starting up was to support local beer. Obviously, Asheville has a huge local beer scene, and they've since opened locations in Asheville, Charleston, Durham, Greenville, Knoxville, Santa Cruz, St. Petersburg, Wilmington, Charlotte, and here in our home city, where the world international headquarters of Last Beer Show is, in Atlanta.
And they're not paying us for this advertising.
They're definitely not paying us, but if they want to send us free beer,
I'm open to
you can contact us through the footnotes. But they
take free beer.
The thing that they kind of specialize in is pour and pay by the ounce, and they've got 83 beers on tap at our location here in Atlanta.
That's a lot of taps.
Which is a lot of taps. I think they've got 100 at the one in Raleigh, Durham, I think.
I mean, you're talking about total number of taps, but there are lots of places with lots of taps. You're burying the lead here
Yep.
pay by the ounce.
Pay by the ounce.
Instead of
Pay by the-
ordering
yeah.
by the
What is-
pint or
Not the glass.
So you don't. It doesn't matter what beer you get.
That's right.
All the beers cost the same amount
so
by the ounce.
So when you order, they don't say, "Do you want the 12 ounce or the 22 ounce sugar?"
Yeah. On their website, it says it's like being at a festival without the cost of admission, so you can discover the latest and greatest. You pay by the ounce, not the glass.
So,
it's like being at a festival, but you pay at the end instead of the beginning.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming that every beer has its own per ounce price, right?
I don't know that actually. In their
If it
website,
didn't, if all the beers are the
not,
same, that would be a limiting
We're just
factor.
going to sit there and suckle on KBS
Yeah.
and let
Yeah.
other people
Exactly.
order the Coors Light for whatever.
You know,
an ounce,
in some
$4.
weird way, that might work. That might work. I'll drink the KBS.
Like Homer Simpson
Yeah.
just under the tab.
paying
pouring
way
straight
too much
in.
for his Coors Light.
Yeah, don't see their current menu of what those prices are, but.
Well, they're probably different in every location because the economy is different. in
If
every
it
location.
differs per bottle, though, I mean, I could dig it. I could dig that. If I just want to go and try a bunch of stuff, like
Right.
that sounds 83 taps. That's a lot of taps. That's a big offering right there.
So I will tell you that
True.
when I remember when they first opened up in Raleigh Durham area, there was sort of a little bit of blowback from people that said
A lot of people-
100 beers on tap. That's a lot of
Yeah.
stale beer.
A lot of people bitch about high tap counts.
Yep.
I guess it depends on the beer. I mean, if it's 100 barley wine taps, I mean, you're gonna be having those kegs there for ages, and it's just gonna get better and better and better, right? But of course, it's not 100 barley wines.
Yeah, most places though that have more than 50 taps, 50 to 100 draft taps, it's like half of the beers are just Bud Light, Coors Light,
Yeah, that's
Michelob,
true. There are
Michelob
variations of
Ultra.
that.
It's like, and then all the beers that Anheuser-Busch makes you carry.
Yeah.
Because you want to carry Bud Light.
Yeah, so then you
there's 10 Wicked Weeds and, Golden Road and all this 10 Barrel and all this other stuff they make you carry.
And-
so then there's really
Yeah.
only 10 or 20 rotational taps that are local and or artisanal.
So it's really more the illusion of variety.
Yeah.
I love how you put
Well, I mean,
that.
that
We put
is,
that way
I mean,
before.
I took a picture of this. So
It's
we
the
went to
illusion
a
of
local,
choice.
local chain restaurant that is wings and beer here locally. And I took a photo because their craft brews section
You know the chain.
was 60% macro beers, but it was under craft brews. And it included people, I will say it included people like Wicked Weed and Elysian, and Shock Top, who are clearly all.
Well, that's
It's all
that's
InBev.
Budweiser's
It's
newest
all-
strategy. Anheuser-Busch, that's what they do. They buy up craft breweries and then they pretend that they're the craft brewery now.
Yep.
Oh, it's hand. Yeah.
So, but
it's
if
about
you
handle
don't
count,
know, you
shelf
go to
space.
this location and you look at craft brews. You're like, oh, craft. I've been wanting to try a craft brew. You just choose one from there. You don't know any better.
Yeah.
And some people don't care. Like, they still make good beer, all of those breweries,
Well,
even though they got bought.
That's right. And the one
Maybe.
thing that people say, everybody likes to hate on Anheuser-Busch, and for good reason. But at the same time, they do something pretty spectacular. They brew a consistent product day in, day out, and it's not an easy product to brew consistently. I will tell you that. I mean, you talk about what they're making, that very, very light lager style. If you try to homebrew that, it's extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Every batch is going to come out different if you homebrew that stuff. The
Yeah.
only reason they can do it is because they have such a huge scale. They have such tight tolerances. They know what they're doing. There's a lot of science
You
to
got
it.
40 scientists.
Yeah.
I could do it.
Well, sure, but
You have a Pico.
You gotta be.
It's
you gotta
like
be-
training wheels. Like, look
Yeah.
at me. I can
Yeah.
balance on
I
a
brew
bicycle.
regular batches. We just drank a bottle of mine today at Scales Place.
Still,
Don't
but
Pico brew and pretend you're home
I'm
brewing.
not talking about that. I'm talking about a regular brew batch.
if you want to
That's
talk
bottled.
about that whole situation, though, I mean, we can go back to like my first big anyway.
Here we go.
When they bought Goose Island,
You were crushed.
I was absolutely.
You
crushed.
were like, Matilda,
It
no!
was it was seriously. This is the situation. Hold on a second. Here it is. The worst brewery I know just bought the best brewery I know, and how am I supposed to feel about
How
that?
do you
can't
reconcile
be
that?
anything but crushed.
Yeah.
But and I will say this: since then, maybe there hasn't been quite as much, experimentation. But I will say that the beer has been pretty damn consistent.
It's
I mean,
true.
they've kept their what do you call them? The not the pallbearers, they're standard bearers, and they've really
Flagships.
Yeah, they're flagships, and and they've stayed good. You know, I mean, BCBS is as good now as it was when I first had it, and that's saying something.
Wayne and I were like,
Yeah,
Not quite. No.
no.
that was the point of the evening, hun, when I realized I was on an island.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, you know I don't
We're
drink it
going
unless it's a few years old. So
Yeah.
Well, a couple of the variations are still doing pretty well. Some of the other ones not.
Yeah, I will say
they've
that
expanded,
hear you,
they've
I hear
expanded those variations a lot too.
you can literally go anywhere in the country right now and buy
on the
bottles
shelf
of Bourbon
everywhere.
County.
Yeah. Well, you haven't been here. We've had this argument for a while where we say, is it rare because it's good? Is it good because it's rare? And
It's an interesting
when you
argument.
find out when Hop Slam becomes readily available, right? When KBS becomes readily available and Bourbon County
Now
style
that's very true. I will talk about the KBS for a second.
it changes.
It changed a lot.
this year's batch is hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
Give
hot.
it needs to sit till next year. But you can get it at the grocery store.
It's all over the place. It's everywhere.
$22 for a 4-pack at the Kroger.
I don't know how that stuff sells at the grocery store. It's
Yeah, I don't
it's a
know.
weird
It doesn't.
situation.
It's still that
Just sits there.
Same
have no
stack
idea
of
who's buying that at a grocery
They had
store.
they got like
what dude in the
6
grocery
cases?
store, like what Bud Light fiend is just over there like, $22 a 4-pack.
Oh, man, you can
Let
get
me
it.
give that a shot.
You can get a box of 50 Bud Lights for that.
I know. Nobody does that, right? Like, it's impossible.
Yeah. Well, it's not that. I mean, we don't participate in purchasing Anheuser-Busch products once a brewery's been purchased
Yeah,
for
I
our
don't-
own reasons.
I don't
Just
believe
because,
that.
and they can still make fine beer and other people can still drink it. But the argument we always have is that they're just playing a different game now.
It's true.
They're in a different money ballpark. It's a different game.
And that's really what it becomes about. It's like the real evil here is that it switches from being about the beer to being about the money.
Well, it's like losing a game to someone with a cheat code.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they've got the infinite cash.
Yeah, they
you
have
know.
resources
Yeah.
to make cheat codes as they go.
And they've got everything from lobbyists, of
They
course.
own distributors.
Like,
it's a different game, and
There's-
that's fine.
It infects the Atlanta beer community. I mean, like there's laws in effect right now.
You think it's unique to Atlanta?
Well,
They
no,
own
I just know it from Atlanta.
They
you
own
know?
distributors in other states
Yeah.
where there are laws that prevent them from doing that.
But like, there's stupid laws in the books where local breweries can't have other beer in their brewery at all.
That's tough. That's Georgia. Not every state does.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But here in Atlanta, that's one of the weird things. And
Yeah.
the whole reason that law is there, one might argue, is just because the lobbyists made it that way.
It's stupid because you know what would happen if because I've seen this in other states. What happens when breweries are allowed to serve or have handles for other breweries? They put on a cidery, a meadery. Mm-hmm. They put on gluten-free options. They do things for people who don't like beer that they can finally sell to, and they get more beer drinkers into the tap room.
Yeah.
Because now you can bring friends and family who may not be into beer, or your spouse, or these like.
You get a bigger variety.
It's a more inclusive environment.
Exactly.
They don't They don't always just start carrying beer from other breweries.
But I've heard stories from brewers though that are like, listen, we got fined because some guy walked in here from some official and saw a bottle.
Inspectors saw a bottle from a bottle share they had in off hours,
and now they owe $2,000 for that bottle. It's
well,
like in a fine. It's
the laws,
what the hell?
The laws changed, and the brewery's going to have to get used to that.
That's true, but
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
a tough
time,
nut.
At the same time, the people who are behind those laws are the big guys for sure. Some of them, at least. Some.
Yeah, well.
So
that's the third rail we stay off of. All right, so that's everything we talked about covering today, man.
Yeah.
And we've been at it for 40, so anything you want to add?
I don't want to add anything.
Are you experiencing any feelings that you want to share?
Feelings.
I want to add another beer.
We had some great beers. We're gonna after show with some.
You want an after party?
Yeah, we're gonna after
We
party
haven't
with
after
some
partied
beers.
in a while, man.
I haven't after
2
partied in a
months.
while.
It's been a while.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right,
So
well,
yeah.
all right. So
Thank you guys for inviting me. I'll add that.
Yeah,
thanks for
thanks
joining
for
us.
being here.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming and being a part.
Wonderful addition.
Cheers. Yeah. Cheers.
Yay!
Yeah.
I think that might be the first audible toast we've
Yeah,
had on
toast.
the show. We're at like
Yeah,
30
this
episodes.
this orange Dreamsicle is pretty tasty.
It is. I'm liking
It's more sour than most of the orange
It
creamsicle
is super
beers.
sour.
Oh,
I will say it doesn't bear a whole lot of resemblance to an orange dreamsicle.
Well, orange creamsicle is a style. I'm so full of baloney. It's a style that is all over the map. Like they're doing it as a sour. Some do it as an IPA, and others do it as like a New England IPA, and they just add some orange and vanilla to it.
I can see that.
Like
I will say it's good as a sour. Like it doesn't even have to be an orange creamsicle. It's good. Like if I just compared this, stacked it up against other sours, like very tasty beer. It's actually really clean.
it's very acid forward. It's got solid pH. If you don't eat first, you'll need some Toms.
Keep the enamel off.
Tom.
Yeah.
You're gonna get some heartburn.
Heartburn.
You'd go
Yep.
chugging this one.
Yep.
This one's pretty acidic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very acidic.
pH Rager. INSTASLOOTS. That's a fun word to say. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I could be getting in all kinds of trouble, but I'll put 2 U's in it in the show notes.
So slooty.
Slooty.
I like INSTASLOOTS and I like the schutz.
I'm gonna do some man hairy-chested beer nipple photos.
I dare you.
Cleavage
Some
photos.
man cleavage.
I'll do it.
I double dog dare you.
I'll do it. I got gross chest hair though.
No, everybody likes the
It's
man
kinda
carpet.
out of control.
The man carpet. Yeah.
Yeah.
I look in balance. You'll see it on Instagram.
It's like when the happy trail turns into the happy forest.
I got a happy trail.
Happy trails.
What do you call it? What do you call the?
Until we meet again.
You know, you don't close with enough Van Halen.
Well, you might as well jump. Go
And that
ahead,
was one of their
jump.
weirdest. That was one of their weirdest
ahead,
tracks.
jump.
What is this pink can? Hudson Valley. Okay, we got to go.
Ask Hudson Valley.
It's only getting better around
I'm
here.
not gonna.
This is Hudson Valley's Hiding Place sour IPA.
What is it called?
Hiding Place.
Hiding place.
Again, I won't say I'm going to defend Anheuser-Busch, but
I'm not.
You kind of are.
I don't mean to. I just think that
I will say that
it's not the world's most evil thing.
by the time this podcast airs, if you haven't started following Cloudburst Brewing in Seattle, you should.
Cloudburst in
Cloudburst in Seattle is absolutely going after
did this
Golden
come from?
Road this week.
Cloudburst.
What are you saying?
Hold on.
Cloudburst Brewing in Seattle
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm getting
is
confused. 'cause
going
we're talking
has been
about-
going after Golden Road this week.
California?
After an interview that Golden Road CEO Meg did. If you've ever she had the show on Vice, Beerland. You might have saw Meg on that show Beerland. And Cloudburst posted today an image of a wolf in sheep's clothing, if you will, with the golden locks, and talking about what independent and real craft beer is and what it is not.
Oh, is that what she was talking about?
And so Cloudburst is they became sort of semi-famous at last year's GABF when they won their award. One of the guys from Cloudburst actually opened up his shirt to reveal a T-shirt that said FUCK InBev.
Yes.
And everyone cheered, obviously, as you can imagine. They are very vocal about their dislike for AB InBev, and they definitely went after them. Golden Road specifically this week on Instagram. By the time this airs, you can still go back there and see it. I doubt very seriously they'll take it down because they do not care at all.
What is it on?
For sure.
It's
Oh,
on,
their
on Cloudburst Brewing's Instagram account.
their Instagram feed.
So you got me confused when you started bringing up Cloudburst because we
Yeah.
were talking about
Cloudwater.
Cloudwater.
So confusing.
No,
Cloudwater is England.
So Cloudburst is actually one of the best breweries in Seattle.
I thought it was Stillwater.
No, Cloudburst is in Seattle.
Cloudwater.
Cloudwater is UK.
No,
It's so hard.
that's what she said.
Welcome to class. Today we're going to talk about how to name your brewery.
Yeah, really.
INSTASLOOTS said Cloud.
Yeah.
No.
So Cloudburst Brewing, which is I've been there. They're a phenomenal brewery, a really small brewery in Seattle downtown.
I been
Well
there?
worth the trip if you're
I've
in that
been there.
area. What's that?
I think I've been there.
Cloudburst. Yep. Really cool spot.
I don't
Great
know, I've been to a
beers,
bunch of breweries in
great
Seattle.
atmosphere. So so we're drinking Hudson Valley's Hiding Place.
Oh yeah, I've seen this image. It's been shared around the internet. So.
I shared it today. It was from today, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
That's a creepy looking image.
a wolf and a
It's a really
sheep's
creepy wolf.
costume?
It's literally a wolf in a sheep's clothes.
So, all right. So Good luck to them in their endeavors in chasing down.
So this hiding
Road.
place was fermented with muscat wine juice and conditioned on fresh rosemary and dried orange peels.
Oh my God, the rosemary.
Oh, it's one of those food beers.
Yeah.
As soon as you start putting like dinner herbs in it, it's a different game.
So one time I had a home brew that was this guy was like the adjunct king.
How did that make you feel?
Indiana.
Was it Abe Froman?
No, I don't actually.
He's the sausage king of Chicago.
Sausage. Anyway,
Johnny Pontrelli?
He made everything from he made an onion beer, a Vidalia onion beer.
Barley wine? Because I love barley wine.
It was a porter, actually. It was an onion
Vidalia
porter.
onion porter.
Yes,
And a Rausch
I
beer.
know on paper it sounds awful.
I
I'll
love me
admit.
some Rausch.
You're right. It does sound awful.
But I swear to God, it was good, and it just made you want to have like a bratwurst. Like it would go.
I would go
great
like
with
a
bratwurst.
roasted onion. You know, like they get like the pan fried roasted.
Yeah, that's what it
kind
tasted
of
like.
caramelized.
It was
caramelized
caramelized
onions.
onion.
Yeah.
It was pretty tasty.
You could do that.
It was weird. It would never take off. It would never be popular. But to have a homebrew like that, it was kind of cool, you know. But he made a. It was an arugula and thyme.
This is
beer.
stuff that other half would do.
Just-
I bet it was
crazy
good.
shit.
I bet it was good time after time.
Time after time. I'm smelling this beer, and I'm like, what is this smell? There's something in here. Like, I know thyme, I know arugula, and I'm like, it's just something so familiar. And my friend looks at me and he goes, salad beer, dude. You're drinking salad beer. I'm like, but it wasn't bad.
I will say that I
It was
did have
interesting.
when I was, last time I was in Chicago, I did go to Italy in Chicago, and I had a beer made with tomatoes, which didn't sound like it was going to be good, and it wasn't, but I did try it. Tomatoes, thinking about like the acidity of tomatoes and stuff, seemed like it made sense to me, and so I thought this didn't too crazy, but it turns out it is actually pretty crazy.
It's like a clamato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a tomato wouldn't impart much color or. It's almost
No, it's
all
acidic.
sugar. It's
Well,
almost all fermentable,
But
right?
it's watery as hell, too.
It's watery, acidic.
water and
yeah,
acid,
just-
mostly.
yeah.
I mean, it's so highly fermentable because it's so high in sugar.
I mean, it's not like corn, but it's probably got more acid than sugar, to be honest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would be afraid, but like dragon fruit and beer, like dragon fruit isn't a very flavorful fruit to begin with.
It's very, very bland.
Yeah.
With like a watermelon
yeah,
texture.
it almost has a vegetal kind of taste to it.
Yeah. You're just dragging your feet now.
Dragging your feet. Yeah,
dragon fruit, yeah.
Tom with the puns. Always with the puns.
Yeah.
I always thought you putting like dragon fruit, like goza or something like that. You're kind of mailing it in.
Yeah,
Dragon
really.
fruit doesn't taste like anything.
It doesn't. It tastes like nothing. It literally like if there's a
Exactly.
fruit that tastes like it's got a high volume of
This
nothing.
is
in
our
it.
water.
That would be honeydew melons.
Honeydew
I can see
melons.
that. I can
Honeydew
see
melons have
honeydew, yeah.
no flavor.
Well,
just
not
kinda
none,
sugar.
but
that's why every
they're
time I
just
see
kinda
them
sugary.
in a
It's
fresh
faint.
fruit bowl, I'm like, let's just be real. You're taking up space in that bowl.
Let me ask you
It's
something
faint.
else about adjuncts. What do you think about this? Is such a stupid idea. Meat in beer. That's my opinion. Stupid idea. Meat in beer. Recently I saw whale testicle beer. Are you kidding me?
It's
I
hard
have
because
seen Rocky Mountain oysters in beer.
Yeah.
it's hard because protein is hard to manage in a wort because the oils will separate and you'll just have like this greasy and you won't get any head. It's gonna
It just kills. all
even
the
if
head.
you get it to carbonate, which is no easy task, it's still gonna not have any head. It's gonna just kind of have oily film on top.
I will say one beer that I've enjoyed that has had a meaty character to it. It was way back when, but Three Floyds made something they only ever kegged it, as far as I know. It's called Ham on Rye. It was a smoked rye beer,
There's a Rausch beer. Yeah, they smoke the malt.
and it tasted
Yeah,
like
there's
a
a few
ham
really good
sandwich.
ones.
It tasted
Germany.
like a ham sandwich. It was amazing.
Yeah, I love Rausch beer so much. Jason hates it, so he's gone now. We can talk about Rausch beer because I love it. Out of Bamberg, Germany is the primary, like that's the world's biggest and best malt roastery. And it's Beechwood smoked malt.
toasty.
So there's a brewery. It's really kind of a brew pub, but it's a brewery in Bamberg called Schlenkerla. And they do...
Say that 3 times fast.
They do Marzen. They do a couple other popular German styles. And then they also make a Pilsner on the gear without smoked malt, and it picks up just trace amounts to it, and it's amazing.
On the gear?
Yeah, in the equipment, the
Oh.
tanks. They go and brew a clean beer after making tank after tank after tank of Rausch beer. They go and make a clean beer on it and just picks up like trace amounts.
Just a trace?
It's amazing.
Thanks a lot.
And he's back. And he's back with the puns.
All right,
Thanks
ready
a lot.
and wrap. Thanks for coming, though. Thanks to Owen.
Yeah, thanks, Owen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being
Jason.
here. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks, Dom.
See you next week. Thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at The Last Beer Show. You can email us sip@lastbeershow.com. If there's anything you want us to touch on and discuss, we would be happy to. Go to the iTunes store, leave us a review or a rating. We would be eternally grateful. And thank you very much.